Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
This is Let's Finally Talk, a heart-to-heart with Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Live streaming every night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm your host, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Join me on YouTube at Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, on Facebook at Dr. Jacalyn, and on Instagram at Dr. Jacalyn, as seen and heard on the USA Global TV and Radio Network worldwide. We've earned the YouTube Silver Creator Award, and I've earned the 100 Global Top Women Icons in Media. My TV shows are Iconic Women, Creating a World of Possibilities, Judgment, the Hidden Sin, A Woman's Prerogative, Sisterhood Across Borders, It's Your Healthy Lifestyle, and the latest updates. Thanks so much for watching. See you tomorrow. We're streaming every night live on Let's Finally Talk. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's a pleasure to be here with you today on USA Global TV and Radio. We are celebrating here. It is actually our 4-year anniversary. Yay! We started from Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn to a global broadcast network. So thank you to each and every one of you who has been with us on this journey. Our show today is Let's Finally Talk. And if you've been here before, you know that each show builds on top of the other. So one of our most recent shows was You Can't Unsee What You Now Know. And following that was Forgiveness is Not an Invitation. So today we're going to be talking about what naturally comes after this, in my opinion. And it's basically about the fact that you don't owe anyone immediate access to your healing. Many times people will pressure us and they'll say, aren't you over that yet? Shouldn't you have moved on already? These are statements that are filled with judgment. And so I'm not here to judge anyone. I'm not here to blame anyone. I'm just here to share ideas and to help, hopefully, get you thinking about how you can possibly find more peace in your life. So let's begin the episode. This episode, I'm really going to be talking about the pressure that many people, including me, I felt this, to make the fact that we're healing very visible, or to explain our progress, or to basically open doors that we've already closed, knowing that we're still not ready. And healing can look different for everyone. Healing is often treated as something that we have to show to someone. We have to convince someone, rather than it be sacred and private and internal. And an example of this is if you've ever lost anyone, you've lost something in your life that really mattered, you felt a very deep sense of many feelings, and one of them significantly of loss. And people in your life may have said, you've got to be kidding me. You're not over that yet. So what I found is, and I'm going to put up a graphic for a moment, is we have to stop giving away our value. And this can look different ways for different people. And so to me, giving away our value Giving our away our value means that we are working on someone else's timetable instead of our own. And what comes with that is a lot of pressure. When someone expects you to get over something or move on from something, it's really about them. We don't have to demonstrate to other people how we're healing, what we're doing to heal. Maybe we're not healing in the timetable that someone else wants from us. And there's unspoken pressure. And that unspoken pressure is that we have to show in some way that we're healing. We have expectations that we have to respond to, or we've got to reconnect with someone, or we've got to explain exactly where we are in our progress. And so maybe it's not the loss of a person, maybe it's the loss of a job. Maybe it's the loss of an opportunity. Maybe it's the loss of a dream. Whatever it is that we are going through in our life is our own journey. And sometimes that can be an invitation for other people. When we're healing, some people can mistake that for availability, meaning we're vulnerable. And when people are vulnerable, people who come from a place of ego as opposed to heart can see this as a great way to come in and assert control. But healing isn't something that we have to provide access to or explanations to. It's personal and it's internal. And that really is the truth. And this all surrounds and is framed up by elevated listening, which is something that I've trademarked. And I'll talk about it a little bit later. So when you think about healing as something that you don't owe access to, it also goes along with the episode that I just did recently, that forgiveness is not an invitation. We get to set boundaries. We get to say who can be in our life, to what degree they can be in our life, how much we want to share with that person. And for some of us, healing is a very integral process. It's very deep. It takes time. It's thought out. And yet, people in our life might want access to this because they feel cut out. They feel like they can't actually make a difference by doing what I call problem solving. So when you're going through something and somebody's in your life and they kind of feel helpless because they want to be there for you, so they want to problem solve, but you're not looking for someone to problem solve. You might be looking for space. And in that space is where we can have reflection. And with that reflection can come that epiphany. And the epiphany is, I am hurting and it's okay. I don't have to judge myself for that. And at the same time, I don't have to let someone in to that space. Now, if you live with someone, you have a partner, you have people in your life you're very close to, they could be offended by this. They could think to themselves or even say to you, hey, I know you're suffering. Why don't you let me help you? And the answer is because I'm working on it myself. I thank you, but this is a journey that I need to take. Someone recently said to me, and this was kind of an eye opener for me, is that when we are there to support other people, and we make ourselves available to do this on a consistent basis, we may not be giving them the opportunity to grow. And if we don't give them the opportunity to grow, then we're actually contributing to the fact that their internal process could be stagnated. So think about that for a moment. As much as you may want to help, who is it that you're really trying to help? So there's a clarification that really means being honest about where your boundaries are. You don't have to have a conversation with someone about what you're going through unless you really want to. And then by doing so, you can frame it up and say, hey, I'm really just looking for someone to listen. I'd really appreciate it if I could just share with you what I'm going through. Sometimes the way that we show up is we actually start avoiding people. We don't want to have the conversation. We feel awkward. We feel like we're being judged. And so we start avoiding the person. But instead of avoiding someone, what we can do is we can just address it and say, I'm going through something right now, and I'd like to go through it myself. If you've ever seen in the media, if someone, a celebrity has lost someone, then what happens typically is the family acknowledges everyone's reaching out and their thoughts and prayers, but we ask for privacy at this time. What are they saying? They're saying, we appreciate the fact that you're sharing feelings and thoughts about the person or what we're going through our journey, but we need to process this ourselves. We need that time. And so let's be respectful to ourselves so that we can heal. And the healing will restore us. When people feel pressured to give access, it could be a number of things. The first thing is it could be fear that you're distant or cold or that you just don't care. There could be a certain level of guilt that's tied to other people's discomfort. It could be social conditioning around the fact that someone wants to reconcile with you and they want to do it very quickly. It could be confusing being polite with being self-abandoned. So elevated listening is permission for us to slow down. Not responding is not the same as not healing. So take the time that you need to heal, to realize where you are today. And you can share with people what it is you actually need and ask them to respect what your needs are. Time and privacy really play a big role in the healing. Healing often needs quiet, not conversation. Because when we're having conversations with people, many times they're giving us their input. They're telling us what they think, what they would do. And the last thing we need sometimes is for someone telling us, what I think you should do is, because that's what they would do, but they're not in your situation, so they can't accurately say. And what I would do in a case like this is I would say, thank you so much for wanting to support, for wanting to help. However, I'd really appreciate it if you'd let me work through this myself. If I need some support, I know that you're there for me, and I will definitely reach out to you. So this is a way of setting a boundary and still being polite. When we have this space, it will help us regulate our emotions. And I've talked many times about the fact that when we become highly emotional, we're no longer able to be logical. And so not being logical means we get so caught up in our emotions that we can't process information and we can't process our feelings. So being in a highly emotional, volatile state doesn't truly serve us for us to make the next step to connect to our own healing. If that resonates with you, think about it in a little bit deeper way. When you have clarity, you feel stronger. And that's when you can stop over explaining yourself. Have you ever had that feeling where you just have to keep telling people over and over and over again what you're doing, how you feel about it? And it's really, again, it's not about you, it's about them, because they either have a need to control, they have a need to understand or know what your business is so that they can provide you with their problem solving, or just coming from a place of ego. When we allow healing to unfold, we don't need an audience and we don't need approval. And I think this one's so important. Think about the times in your life when you're really needing other people's approval. You're going through something, you're not sure if what you're feeling is spot on, and you start calling people, hey, I feel this about this, or I was thinking this about this. You're giving it up to fate, 50-50. People can be on your side, they cannot be on your side. And at the end of the day, what did you actually accomplish? You just let someone into your private thoughts and feelings. which is an opportunity for them to judge you. So my suggestion is when you feel highly emotional, acknowledge it. You acknowledge it and then you let it go. And as one of my friends, Red, always says, he writes things on his hand and then he basically says, let it go. And by letting it go, it actually serves a purpose. And the purpose is that you can focus your time and energy on your healing, on what the future opportunities are going to look like for you. And through the healing, there's growth. So, one key point I want you to take away from this episode is that privacy, it's not secrecy. It's actually you showing care and respect for yourself. So, if we look at elevated listening, which is a platform I've trademarked, there are 3 questions that I feel are really incumbent and key to ask ourselves. Is what I'm thinking, is what I'm doing, is it kind? Is it necessary? And is it true? And I'd like to suggest that we listen to our bodies. Is it kind? Is it necessary? Is it true? As opposed to listening to what our social circle or our immediate family circle has to say about the situation. Because in our own body, we're going to be able to feel what is coming up for us without having external validation. That external validation, by the way, can be temporary. You can get someone's support and encouragement, and they may have alternative theories, alternative reasons for doing so. But by trusting your gut and your instinct, you're relying on yourself. And this way, whatever decision you make, if it works out the way you want it to, that's terrific. And if it doesn't, it's a key learning opportunity. There's value in there for you to learn. Okay. When you choose your responses, your thoughts that actually encourage you to monitor your feelings and your emotions, as opposed to being obligated to someone else, you are trusting your pace and you will find peace. That peace does come. I've been on the journey myself. And as someone who, lives alone for a long time, I'm single, I have to process a lot of things, especially running 2 businesses and being in school. It's a lot. So I don't need external validation for me to know if what I'm doing is serving me. My body tells me, my mind tells me, my intuition tells me. Some of the key takeaways I want you to have from today's show is that when we're healing, it doesn't require an explanation. Whatever the process is that you choose to take, if you invite people in and ask their opinions, or you share what's going on with you and you ask people for their advice, then you have to realize there's a great opportunity that you may be judged. And if you are judged, how is that serving you? What's coming up for you during that judgment? So think about how you can package something for yourself before you put it out there for someone else. So we basically set a boundary and say, thank you for acknowledging the fact that I'm going through a loss right now. Thank you for understanding that I'm not at my best right now. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you offering to help support me, but right now I think what I need to do is some inner work, and knowing that you're there for me, that means a lot. So you acknowledge the person. We always want to acknowledge people, and maybe it's not someone that you would be working with or that you'd call on or you come to, but you can still say it in a graceful way. And therefore, you're not inviting speculation. You're not inviting judgment, because we want to stay away from that as much as possible. So here are some questions I'd like you to think about. Where am I feeling pressure to show that I am healing, how I'm healing, or what I'm doing to heal? And by the way, there doesn't have to be something catastrophic to be in pain. We can feel loss for any number of reasons. Recently I've been assessing my own lifestyle choices, and not as a New Year's resolution, but just in general, 62, soon to be 63. And there's certain foods I'm going to be giving up that I have started giving up as of yesterday, which again, it's only one day, but I feel a sense of loss because it's been in my life for a long time, like chocolate, for example. And it might not seem like a big thing, but we have to have something to replace it. And one of the things we can do when we have a loss, if we need something to fill that void, is find something constructive. We have a choice. We could do something that's not constructive or something that is constructive. So I'll give an example. I have never been a smoker. I've never smoked. I know people who do smoke, and there have been times when he or she have decided to quit smoking and substituted it with something else. So they could have substituted with something positive, but instead they decided to substitute it, for example, with gambling, or someone else substituted with vaping, or someone substituted with excessive alcohol drinking. And so even though they wanted to give up the one thing, they substituted it with something that wasn't really serving them. And again, I'm not sitting here in judgment. So we can choose to acknowledge that we are in pain from losing something, but substitute it with something positive, something that will help us heal, something that will bring us joy. And in each situation, it's going to be different. So I don't claim to have all the answers. I just want you to think about some of these things to see if they're bringing up anything for you that you can address. The next thing is, as I mentioned in my last episode, which was forgiveness is not an invitation. Am I offering someone access to me before I feel ready? So am I inviting someone back into my life, or am I keeping someone in my life before I feel ready to have them there? And what does this look like? I know for myself, and maybe for some of you, especially with the pandemic, relationships that we've had, we don't have anymore, or maybe they changed, or the way that we did things has changed. But yet, it's been an opportunity in a number of ways. It's almost like a reset. And of course, we are very sad about all the loss that there's been in the world and all the people who lost their lives and people who are still struggling with various outcomes from vaccines, et cetera. But for the most part, for the rest of us, we have been able to recreate ourselves in a certain way. So think about how a loss in your life can show up as an opportunity, maybe an opportunity to reassess, to regroup, to recalibrate, instead of always looking at it in a negative way. And of course, when we lose someone, I lost my mother 2 years ago. She was my best friend. That was probably one of the hardest things I went through with being a full-time caregiver and actually starting this business at the same time because we were in the house together. She had dementia. And yet here I am celebrating 4 years with this business. And as much as I miss my mother every single day, I'm grateful for the fact that I've been able to do something productive, something that actually brings me joy, because there wasn't any way I was going to be able to keep her here. It's out of my control. But I have been able to do something for which I think she would be proud. And the next reflective question is, what would it look like to protect my healing without guilt? That guilt that we feel because other people have these self-imposed ideas. As I mentioned at the top of the hour, you should be over this by now. Why don't you just move on? What's up with you? I can't understand it. If I were you, blah, blah, blah. And of course, as I've mentioned a zillion times, you're not me and I'm not you. And even though we can put ourselves in other people's shoes, we really don't know what it's like to walk someone else's journey. So people encouraging us to get over whatever it is, that's really none of their business. And we don't have to accept it. We don't have to be disrespectful to the person, insult them. We can put up a boundary. And so that's part of what elevated listening, what I teach, is about. It's really at the core helping each and every one of us to find inner peace. There's so much strife in the world. There's so much hostility and there's so much anger. And I'm not here to judge it. What I'm here to do is have a heart to heart with you about how you can find more peace in your life. But I can't do it for you. It starts with you, just like my work starts with me. And so I would suggest that we set boundaries for ourselves, that we will not go past this boundary, that we will not let anyone come past our boundary. And the other thing I want to share, which I think is really important, I have this course coming out, and this is not to promote the course, but it's to give you another tool. Stop giving away your value. This is a course that I'm teaching. It's a 6-week course. And essentially, it's going to give you the tools that you can use so you stop giving away your boundaries and you set up your value statement. You know, I'm currently taking a course at Wharton. It's called Chief Strategy Officer. And it's really fascinating about understanding what the term value means and what it doesn't mean, and what a value proposition is and what a strategy is. We can have a value to our lives. And to me, the one thing that I see over and over again, it doesn't have to be in business. It can be personal. We give our value away to people because of our own insecurities. So your value is you have a right to heal. You have a right to set a boundary. You have a right to protect your value. But what we do is we give it away to other people, because I know for me, I always want to be nice to people. I always want people to do well. I always want to help people. I'm a peace ambassador. I started a nonprofit. I'm on the board of another nonprofit. But what I've realized is I have to have boundaries, just like you have to have boundaries. Because if we don't have boundaries, what happens is people get used to the way that we show up. And then people coming from a place of ego as a place of love, they capitalize on that. They just walk all over us because we let them. We've opened the door to show people, this is how I will let you treat me. So by keeping our value and stop giving it away, we're protecting how much integrity we have. We're protecting our health. We're protecting our emotional intelligence. So I want you to think about these things. If I can be of assistance to you, if you're interested in this course, it's a 6-week course, let me know. My new book with the same name is also coming out. You can pre-order it on Amazon right now. And in conclusion, I want to thank you, each and every one of you, as we celebrate our 4-year anniversary. For me, this has been an incredible journey that I never could have imagined. I had absolutely no experience in the television industry whatsoever. I was in sales my entire career, different types of sales, but basically sales. And I typically was interfacing with men. And at the same time, for now 33 years, I've had ulcerative colitis. And the ulcerative colitis was really bad when I was in corporate. I retired in 2020. And so part of the reason I retired was because I felt like I didn't have a voice, that I wasn't really listened to. And I felt like that was showing up in my gut, in my colon, in my intestines. And so now going out on my own, which really was at the same time, it was maybe 2 weeks before I found out, along with my family, that there was something not going right with my mother. And I decided to, in September of 2020, move in with her and take care of her full time. And it was at that time that I actually went from having a radio station, which was Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, the Drive Live at 5, and a television show that was actually in a television station in New Jersey, to going out on my own. And it's been an incredible journey. And I just want to thank each and every one of you who has been with me for this journey. And part of the reason why I started doing this show, Let's Finally Talk, is because I felt like with all of the production that I'm doing and supporting my team and doing some co-hosting, I really wasn't sharing my knowledge and expertise directly with you, the viewer. So I hope that you have gotten something out of this episode. I hope that you keep coming back. And I also have my flagship book, which is Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening. You can buy this also on Amazon. Everything that I've been talking about today is at the core of elevated listening. And then my most recent book is Holy But Harmful, The Silent Sin of Judgment. And this is a book, although it looks like we're talking specifically about religion because of the stained glass on the cover. Religion's part of it, but it's all of the hidden judgments that we make that destroy relationships. It's the things that we say in passing that really hurt other people. And there's 100 statements in there, and I'll just give you a couple of examples. This is a statement that someone has made to me. You know, you look really good for your age. Now, when you put that for your age, it's basically, well, you know what? You wouldn't look really good if I thought you were younger. So that's actually an insult, and there's judgment based on there. So how I accept that information says a lot about me, because we're only responsible for our own behavior. So the person who gave the statement, they're responsible for what they're saying, and we're responsible for how we accept it. Then there are passive aggressive statements like, you've always been like this. I told you you would do this. You'll never change. All those statements are supposedly well-meaning, but they're all lined with judgment. And how we show up says something about us. So think about the 3 statements, 3 questions. Before you speak, before you write, before you text, before you post, is it kind? Is it necessary? And is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? Is it true? If not, seriously consider not saying it. Because when we say something that hurts someone else's feelings, my last show was Forgiveness is Not an Invitation. They can forgive us, but that doesn't mean they have to keep us in their life or invite us to be in their life. And I've shared this statistic before, but I read somewhere one of the Ivy Leagues did a research study. Someone can say something to us and we can forgive them and we can decide not to have them in our life, but we won't forget what they said, sometimes for up to 20 years. Think about something that someone said to you that wasn't kind, it wasn't necessary, or it wasn't true. Do you remember those things? Maybe they're still in your life. Maybe they're sitting across the desk from you, across the table from you. But you remember what they said. And you remember what they said because they showed you who they are. And when someone shows you who they are, believe them. You're not going to change them. I'm not going to change you, and you're not going to change me. So we just have to be aware of what it is we can control and what it is we can do to find inner peace. So I will conclude this episode and say thank you very much. I'm coming back shortly with my Talking Heads episode, which wherever it is you're watching, you may see the title of this show is The Cost of Carrying Everything Alone. So unfortunately, I went into the studio for the Talking Heads episode instead of the Let's Finally Talk. So I'll be changing the title. But please do join me for The Cost of Carrying Everything Alone. I'll look forward to seeing you there. And I'd love to have you subscribe to our channels. Wherever you're watching, if you're on Facebook or LinkedIn or somewhere else, would you consider going over to YouTube and subscribing to our 2 channels? I would really appreciate that because we get a lot of really good information about who's watching and from where and how long people stay on and if they like it, our programs in the shorter format or the longer format. So if you would, please go over to YouTube and subscribe to USA Global TV and Radio and Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. If you'd like to get in touch with me, I love to hear from people. Let me provide my information. I just gave that information about our channels. Okay, so you can contact me directly. Here's my titles. I'm looking for the links. Sorry, I'm also producing the show, so I'm doing 2 things at one time. Okay, you can contact me here, usaglobaltv.com, or drjacalyn.com, or by email at drjacalyn@usaglobaltv.com. And also you can buy all of my books. I think I've got 26 books right now, and they've either been bestseller or #1 Amazon new release. Then they're all on Amazon. Thank you again for being here. I look forward to seeing you again for my next episode. And now I'm going to close out with my first single that I actually recorded in London in November, and it was mastered by Abbey Road in London. It's called Please Listen to What I Say. Thank you. Take care and go in peace.
Listen, babe, now. 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 Listen, babe, now.
Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? In a world quick to judge, one book dares to reveal the hidden cost of silence. Discover Holy but Harmful, The Silent Sin of Judgment, How Hidden Judgments Destroy Relationships and Damage Lives by Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. The Amazon #1 bestseller that's transforming the way we understand ourselves and the way we see others. Pick up the companion workbook to uncover your own hidden judgments and learn how to break free from them. Available now on Amazon and at fine bookstores worldwide.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dies. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.